Welcome in, guys. Welcome in, guys and girls. Girls and guys, welcome in. Today on the Boom Bust Dynasty Trade and Team Review Show, we're going to look at your trades. We're going to look at your teams. We're going to review them. We're going to talk about how to make your teams better and how to get you ready for the regular season coming up, for training camp, for all the hype and news and everything that comes with the start of the regular season. Injuries, cuts, etc. Let's start things off with a trade. We've got 8 trades in the queue right now, but that often grows as people join in on the live show. If you are looking to get your trade answered tonight, submit it through our site. It's right here on your screen on the TikTok feed, on the YouTube and Twitch feed. It's right here with my finger right there. It's right there with my finger right there. You get it set, you get it going. Let's throw the first trade on the screen. We've got 8 trades in the queue. We've got a team review queued up for tonight. First trade in a 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 8. It's a PPR. There's no tight end premium on this one. We've got someone sending Drake London, AJ Barner, a 27 projected late third for Ted McMillan, DJ Moore, Isaiah Likely. You guys, let me know which side of this one you want to be taking in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat. We've got the TikTok chat. We've got the YouTube chat. We've got the Twitch chat. On this one, here's how I'm breaking it down. The best piece in the deal is Drake London. It's Drake London. POA Ammo saying, give me the Tet side. And I think that's the side I'm leaning. I looked at this one before the start of the show. We've got the best piece of the deal. And this is one of those trades that I like where you're moving the best piece in the deal. But in Dynasty, I care a little bit more about moving the worst pieces in the deal and getting good value for them, which is what is happening here. I think the value in general, just in a vacuum, is on the Tet McMillan side. And then for the team making this trade, we've got their roster on screen on the Twitch and on the YouTube feed. We're just bringing in more startable pieces for a team that looks like it is ready to contend. Bo Nix at quarterback in a 1 quarterback league. That's a top 10 guy. And then we are adding in extra pieces. This team looks like it needs some running backs, but making this swap for sending away AJ Barner, sending away a future third, bringing in Isaiah Likely and DJ Moore, then frees this team up to make other trades to bring in running backs. There's a team that needs running backs, is ready to contend other than running backs, but I'll take the Tet side. Give me Isaiah Likely, give me DJ Moore, and then I'm taking those things and probably pairing them with other assets to get running backs for this team. But I think the value is just on the Tet side. So we're going to go with that one. I'm taking the Tet side there. We'll clear that out and we'll go through how to submit your trades on the show. It's right here on your screen for your trades, your team reviews. Flymatic with the follow on Twitch. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at how to do this. We handle all of this through our website, boombustfantasy.com. When we've had those overlays up on screen showing the teams, showing the roster of the person who submitted the question, showing the scoring settings, we're able to do that because people submit their trades through the site, boombustfantasy.com. It's very easy to get signed up. It's free to make your account, and it only takes a couple clicks. From the homepage, if you don't have your account, you just click Get Started. And then I'm logged in with my Gmail in Google Chrome here. So I hit continue with Google and the account is made. It takes 1 click to make your account, and then you just type in your Sleeper username. And when you hit continue, we have our site set up to go to Sleeper's website, Sleeper's API. They make this publicly available. It grabs all of the leagues that you're in, and then you just pick which league you want to start with. So we'll go with one of the leagues that we started last off season in a startup, Boom Bust 8. Hit continue. Our site also lets you sync to Discord. So if you want to ask questions to people about your trades and have it actually show your league's rosters, you can connect your Discord, and then it'll let you post straight to our Discord from the website with a link back to all of the rosters in your league. So I've seen people typing in our Dynasty trade channel, here's the trade, here's my league scoring, here's my roster, here's the other guy's roster. You don't have to do any of that. You just sync your Discord account to the site, and then you're able to post your trade directly to there. If you want to get your trade put into the show, you just go to Trade Advice. You click on the Trade Advice tab up here. It's going to show you how many credits you have. Every new account gets credits. So if you want to ask your question on the show, it is free. when you create your account, like Whodat typing out everything that I'm saying. They're saying 12-team, 1-point PPR must start a tight end, was offered this. I got to tell you, Whodat, if you want your trade covered on the show, we're going over how to do it. You type in your trade here, like any trade calculator, and then hit request expert review and hit submit expert review, and that adds you into the queue. That'll add you into the queue. If you want us to just pull up your whole team and talk about it, and we will be doing that tonight. We've also got our team advice tab where we will go through your team live on the show, break down position by position, where you're weak, where you're strong, and the moves that I would make to get you contending as often as possible. You get a full write-up, a text write-up breakdown of your team and the moves that I would make with real trades based on the rosters in your league and why I would make each individual trade or offer it. We usually put about 8 to 10 trades on those. We put a lot of work into them. Goosey, what's up, Goosey, on the Twitch? Thank you for popping in. Let's go back to the trades and take a look at another one. Got the next one on the screen coming in from Josh Allen's daddy, 5'6". It was Josh Allen's daddy, 5'5", and 1 through 5'5", all taken? Maybe. Might have been. We've got the trade on your screen. This is the first one that we looked at. I just needed to refresh this. Let's set this one live. From Pook12. Here's the next trade in the show, and it's on your screen now. Let me make sure I'm looking at it. In a 12-team, 1 quarterback start 9, Pook12 asks, side 1, RJ Harvey, Travis Hunter, Mekhi Lemon. Okay, some good pieces. Side 2, Brian Thomas, Quinshon Judkins. We got DJ saying, give me the Judkins side. I think it's pretty even in value, just tradable value. I think on both sides, we're buying Brian Thomas low or selling Brian Thomas low, and we're selling Mekhi Lemon high or buying Mekhi Lemon high. If you guys are on the TikTok feed, on Twitch and on YouTube, you can see the roster of the person who submitted this question. They have the Mekhi Lemon side. So they're saying, I want to move on from Mekhi Lemon. I want to move RJ Harvey. I want to move Travis Hunter and bring back Judkins and Brian Thomas. I don't think it's a bad move. I don't think this is a bad move. This is a trade of a lot of players I just like. So we'll break it. We'll go through player by player. Like, I like RJ Harvey as a solid RB2 for this year. He was running back 20 in scoring last year. I think he is going to have a role for the Broncos. It's not going to be a top 10 running back for fantasy, but it'll probably be, I don't know, running back 16 to 24, which is valuable in Dynasty. So he has value. He's just not the top guy. Does the Coleman addition scare me off of Harvey? No. I mean, RJ Harvey was playing behind. Does Jonah Coleman coming to the Broncos scare me off of RJ Harvey? Not really. Last year the Broncos had a tandem of J.K. Dobbins, RJ Harvey. Dobbins got hurt. Harvey was a rookie moving into his role. If Dobbins had not been hurt, would Harvey have had a role in the second half of the year? I think he would have. And especially going into his second year, I think he's expected to have a role. The Broncos with head coach Sean Payton, if you look at Sean Payton and trace back to days with the Saints, like, it was tandem running backs. If you look at Dan Campbell with the Lions, who got his start with the Saints, or got his start as a stretch, but worked under Sean Payton with the Saints, like, they run tandem running backs. We're looking at, like, there are teams where you can just look through their history and see what they want to do at running back. The Broncos want to run 2 running backs. So if it's Jonah Coleman and J.K. Dobbins fighting for one role and RJ Harvey filling a different role, that adding Coleman in doesn't change things a ton for me. So I like Harvey there. I like him some. I don't like him a ton. There's this thing in fantasy that's hard to say, like, I like this player at their price point. I don't like them at the high end. I just like them at their current price point. People say they don't like this guy. I like him a little bit more than the market. That's it. With a lot of the players here, it's other than Judkins, it's just kind of all selling low. Travis Hunter, we thought, would not go back to playing wide receiver in a deep room. Like, he is talented at wide receiver. Mekhi Lemon, I think, is just undervalued because people say that Jalen Hurts can't throw the ball. But at the same time, AJ Brown was wide receiver 11 last year. So I'm not totally sure that McKyleman isn't going to catch passes. On this deal, I will take the Brian Thomas side. If I'm just looking at what's the path to more tradable value and more production, it's the Brian Thomas and Judkins side. So I'll take that. But it's very close. And I like a lot of the players in this trade. So I wanted to spend some time talking through each of the players in that trade and so on. But if we're just picking would I'd make it, yeah, I would take the two-part side there. Let's clear this overlay out and let's take a look. We've got the first team review for tonight. Let's get this prepped and up on your screen. This one comes in from K-Walls. How are you doing? The team name is I'm a Believer. Let me pull it up on the screen. Let me grab my notebook, start making some notes. So here's how our team review process works as I'm getting all of this pulled up. We're going to go through this Dynasty team position by position. We'll come up with a rating for each spot. So we'll go quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, etc. I'm writing the first notes down, your future pick value, and then we'll come up with a plan for the next couple of years or an outlook for the next couple of years. Are you contending this year? Are we in the last year of contending and then retooling? Are we rebuilding this current year and so on? And then we'll look at some trade ideas by going through the league that you have. And then afterwards, I go through and I type up, hey, here's what I think of your team. I type up real trade options for your team and we send that out. I see Oh No saying you should have at least 500 people watching. Hey, thank you. Thank you. I also see Brandon saying Scrub Daddy. We have a Scrub Daddy here. We have a Scrub Daddy. Is that the sponge? Let me find where we need to go to get this team review showing on your screen. Here we go. Here, 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 there. And then if I hit this, there we go, Paradise Blitz. And then on your screen, you can see where to submit your team for review like this. And if you are someone who submitted your team for review during our trial period, you should have gotten an email with a setup code to get you discount on this one. We've got K-Walls in the league, Paradise Blitz. It's a 12-team Superflex, 6 point for passing touchdown, which will matter a little bit for quarterbacks. And then we will look at, it's a start 11 PPR scoring. Let's get down the timestamp so that we can put a timestamp in the YouTube description. So K-Walls, your team here, you'll be able to come back and check out the video of this as well as the text breakdown of your team. We're going to go through your team position by position. I think we said it's a 12-team start 11 full point PPR. We'll go quarterbacks. We got Josh Allen, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones. In this league is also a start 2 tight end. Thank you. 2 tight end starter. So with your setup, if you've got to start 2 quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Bo Nix, both really good. I mean, what are we going to get from Josh Allen? Top 2, top 3? That's what he's been for a long time. And Bo Nix has been, I think, quarterback 7 in both of his years. Do I have that right? He's been top 10 both years, and I'm expecting him to be top 10 again. Same thing as Josh Allen, Bo Nix runs. I don't know that he's an excellent passer or an excellent overall quarterback in the NFL like Josh Allen is, but he runs. And in fantasy, that it scores you a lot. It does slightly bring down Bo Nix compared to the market. We'll leave that right here so that it stays on your screen. It does bring down Bo Nix slightly compared to the market because this is a 6 point passing touchdown league, but it's not a huge thing. He's going to be top 10. So for your quarterbacks, we're going to say like, hey, it's 4 out of 4. And on these ratings that we give by position, what we look for is the production that we can expect for this year and going forward, and then how tradable is this asset. With your team or with any team, there are times where we'll say like, hey, you have a ton of quarterback value and we might need to move it. We might need to move some of that quarterback value. So the rating is also like, hey, how tradable are these pieces? Can we easily move this stuff to other spots? For running backs, we've got Bucky Irving, J.K. Dobbins, Tyler Algier, Rashad White, Mike Washington, Sean Tucker, Kendre Miller. A lot of question marks. I think we've got Bucky Irving, a running back that I still like for this year. And then guesses and hoping. Like Rashad White for the commies, I think stands out as someone that can give you okay running back production. But in terms of just how much tradable value here do we have here? How much easily predictable, reliable production do we have here? It looks like there's going to be a lot of guessing this year. Are we starting J.K. Dobbins, hoping that he bounces back from injury, or are we starting Rashad White in that second running back slot? We're starting Bucky Irving most weeks. We've got Sean Tucker if things are wildly different there in that running back room, where Sean Tucker is for some reason getting a lot of the touchdown production. We've got Tyler Algier, hopefully still like for you, hopefully vulturing some touchdowns to become a usable asset, but running back 2, it's a question mark. So this is for me on the rating, it's a 1 or a 2. I'm going to give it a week 2 because Bucky is still tradable and you can find production to make this team go. It's just not a banger lineup that you have here. If we didn't have Bucky Irving here, and like the thing that would make this a 1 would be if Bucky Irving wasn't on this squad and it was if it was like Bashal Tootin there, that'd probably be the tiebreaker for me to just bump it down to a 1 of like, we don't have a lot here. So we're on that borderline 1-2. Wide receivers, Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, Torrey Horton holds some value here. I typically just read names and scan them, and if I'm reading the name, I think there's some value here. We've got Brandon Ayuk in a odd situation. Jacoby Lane for the Baltimore. Like a lot of deep options here. Dejon Stribling, I see you just acquired in a trade recently. Early draft pick for the 49ers. It's someone I like. Like I like Dejon Stribling. He doesn't have a lot of tradable value right now. I'm hoping that we get production from him because he's also someone that I've been drafting. This is feeling like a 2. Chris Olave is your top end talent. I like Jordan Addison as a buy low option to go up in value this year. I don't think people are pricing in that Kyler Murray is much better than JJ McCarthy. I would expect Kyler Murray to win this job out of camp and just be much better for your team as well as the Vikings. To get a value rise out of Jordan Addison, I do want to call out as we're talking through these players, the trade of Marv for Jordan Addison and Dejon Stribling. I think you could have gotten more. I think you could have wound up bringing in more from that. Like I like Addison as a value riser. I like Stribling a little bit as a value riser. He's in a very similar position to Ricky Pearsall when he was drafted to the 49ers. Maybe moving into a more crowded room, but a little bit undervalued. We could see a value rise throughout this year. We kind of need that to happen just to build up the value on the trade that you made. But overall, like you have enough pieces in this start 11. We're starting 2 tight ends, but in the start 11 to build out a lineup. It's a deeper league. You do have enough pieces to build out a lineup, but there is a lot of stuff that we probably need to replace soon. And then at tight, so what did we say? I wrote down a 2, and I feel okay with that because we have producers. Like Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, they're likely to produce. You'll have enough to fill out a healthy lineup and put up decent scoring each week. Isaiah Wharton, I see you submitted your team. Jay just submitted the team. Thank you, boys. Thank you, boys. I hope I got, I don't want to assume boys v girls, but thank you, gang. And then let's go to tight end where things are strong. We started out really strong with quarterbacks, and then we dipped at running back, dipped at wide receiver. Now we're back to strength, especially in a league where you have to start 2. Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends you could have in a fantasy league. Is there a tight end premium on this league? No, just that you have to start 2, but no tight end premium. And then Oronde Gadsden and David Njoku, the combo for the Chargers. In the video that I put out on Monday, I said I liked both Gadsden and Njoku on the Chargers with Mike McDaniel. I think we've got a solid 4 here, especially considering you have to start 2 of these guys in each week. Mason Trigg, I like as a sleeper option. The Cowboys, with teams like the Dallas Cowboys, and what I mean by like the Cowboys is they've had the same ownership, GM, and structure for a long time. You can see how they like to build out their roster. They have Jake Ferguson now drafted in the middle to later rounds at tight end. I could see Mason Trigg being the next person in that line. Where they've got Ferguson. Before that, I think it was Dalton Schultz who they let leave. They kind of just replace these guys in the middle rounds. A year or two later, they move into that role. I could see Mason Trigg becoming into that Jake Ferguson kind of role and them moving on from Ferguson. So I like the sleeper option here. So we're looking at 4 at quarterback, 2 at running back, 2 at wide receiver, 4 at tight end, and then your future picks, nothing of note, just missing a second next year. This is about a 2. So what can we do? Are we contending this year? One of the things that we have on our site, you can check this out with your league. If you sync your leagues, you can check this out. It's not something tied to a team review, but we can look at the lineup power for projected scoring. We take a look at your league's rosters. We'll make sure that we have the tweak here that we're starting 2 tight ends, but I think you're contending this year, especially with the consideration that we have to start multiple tight ends. You're in the range of you should be in contention for the playoffs. And I think, my dog's going a little bit crazy. If you guys are hearing that, hopefully, I can't tell if I want you to hear it or not. I don't want to just be interrupting myself mid-sentence saying my dog is barking and seem like a crazy person. I guess I would want the bark to come through. I'll call her over here. Okay. She gets nervous when anyone comes by the door. So what we were saying about your team is I'm expecting this team to be in contention for the playoffs. You have a lot of strength being carried by your quarterbacks, being carried by your tight ends in a league where you have to start 2 tight ends. And then you have aging wide receivers that don't have a lot of tradable value, but are going to produce. Like if we look at your lineup, if we count out the 11 players that you're starting, we're starting Josh Allen, Bo Nix, Bucky Irving. Dobbins probably starts. If he's healthy, he's always produced in his career. And then we're probably starting another running back, but we'll come back to that. So we got 4 guys that, okay. And then Olave, Addison, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman, Trey McBride, and then 11 as Oronde Gadsden. And then we're kind of just piecing together a second running back. I don't feel bad about that at all. I feel like we've got really strong running backs, really strong quarterbacks, and then just weaker at wide receiver. With that said, like contending this year, probably needing to retool pretty soon. Devontae Adams getting up there in age. I'm not sure what we're going to get from Michael Pittman and his long-term prognosis in Pittsburgh at probably 1 to 2 years. DJ Moore, hopefully 1 to 2 more years. Hopefully you get, like if there's a lot of things that can just break your way and you would be in a 2-year contention window, adding in more wide receivers and things next year. So I'm going to put this down as we're contending and then possibly retooling next year and then probably contending again. So we'll come up with some of a game plan here. Looking, and am I getting this right? You guys just drafted in early June. I'm seeing 11th round picks, 16th round picks. That would typically be a startup. So we've got your team coming out of a startup. It can be hard to make trades coming out of a startup, but if we're looking at players that we can pull off of these bottom teams, we'll try to find a couple. We'll look for a couple players on these bottom feeding teams that we might want to go get. Otherwise, we'll talk about just kind of other moves. Because it looks like you're coming out of a startup, so I'm guessing you probably had a pretty early pick if you have Josh Allen. Here, possibly like this guy has Tonjes. Tonjes could be someone to grab. Yeah, this was a startup. Okay, I'm a Sherlock Holmes here. So we'll go through a couple of these bottom feeder teams, typically on the live version of the team review, looking for trade ideas. I make notes of them, and then I go and I actually build out like, hey, here's a fair value trade you could offer this person. Here's why it makes sense for you, and so on. I don't know that this guy's going for any running backs. You would need running backs. He's got a lot of quarterback options to attack. Drake May as his main guy, and then just a lot of like, hopefully Malik Willis works. Hopefully Tyler Shuck works. If you're just looking for scoring early on, Tonjes is probably super cheap. If you send this guy a fourth, can you get Tonjes for him? I'll make a note of that. And that's really just with the team you have, we want to stack up wins. So I'll also give some points for return yards, but I don't think it's enough to change strategy a ton. Okay. Do you feel like you made any draft picks based on that scoring for return yards? Looking at the team here, like Cam Ward, all these teams could use a quarterback. One of the things that you might be able to do with someone like Nathan Bird is a down tier from Allen to Caleb Williams. If we're looking at your team, the spots where we can pull value to boost your starting lineup and prep to get away from a retooling would be pulling value from Josh Allen or pulling value from someone like Trey McBride. Doing a down tier from those guys would just boost your starting lineup. So can we look at trades? I'll look at some trades involving like Caleb for a wide receiver, for a running back. I don't know that it's exactly what we want to do. You reached on Horton by a round or two just for the scoring production or the return yards production. Okay. And then the real Rick Tofen. I'm not sure that any of these guys. One thing I'll say, specifically tailored to this being a startup draft, is a lot of people. You're in a startup that we did some startups together last off season. Do people want to contend right away? I've been in enough startups to know, like, hey, sometimes people just decide they're rebuilding. Like this team here, they call themselves the rebuild. They go into their rebuild out of the startup draft. That isn't always how people do things. I don't really see anybody here. Okay, CPO did get extra first round picks, but then a lot of people just don't have any. Do they view themselves as a contender? In those situations, they're more likely to be open to trading things with you or taking it on assets that will help them contend. We're going to look for the possibility of down tiering off of Josh Allen. Deadeye, how are you? Just to get you a second running back. Unless you're feeling like you're really liking starting Rachaad White at running back too, I'd like to look at getting something a little bit more consistent. And that's really across the lineup. A little bit more consistent at your flex options. I feel like we need to fill out a lot of flex spots, and we are looking at them and saying, I don't know, I've got like 7 options for my however many flex spots. Rachaad White, J.K. Dobbins, across your second running back in your multiple flex spots. Like, are we taking a flyer on any given week on Sean Tucker, Rachaad White, Dobbins, Algier for a touchdown? And then are we starting them over Torrey Horton, over Pittman, over some of these deeper options? I like to do a little bit of consolidation. There's just not a ton of tradable value there to make it happen. So I'm going to look at consolidating. And I may look at, like, if we down tier from Josh Allen, does that let us consolidate to a stronger starting lineup? We're not looking to sell low on Josh Allen. We're looking to sell as though he's the best piece you can have and get someone to pay up for that. Other rosters that we've got here. Okay, we'll make a note of, like, maybe I like drafting Jared Goff in a startup. Maybe this guy feels the way I do. We'll take a look at the down tier there. And then maybe it's football, not soccer. They've moved. Here's one where I want to double back to something I was saying. Coming out of a startup, you can't always tell who's rebuilding, who's not. Everybody thinks they're contending, where we have a team here that has moved multiple first round picks, but then doesn't have a second quarterback. And you've got someone like Daniel Jones that I would be fine with moving Daniel Jones and not having a third quarterback just to get all of that stuff into my weekly lineup. So we're going to look at options involving Daniel Jones, involving Bo Nix, etc., with the team football, not soccer, where they only have Justin Fields as a second quarterback who's starting the year but this team has also moved future picks. Like, they probably want to contend and will have a hard time contending without a third quarterback once Justin Fields is behind Patrick Mahomes. So from there, we got your team with your ratings. We'll go, you're contending, probably retooling and then contending again. I don't really want to move any future pick value to push harder in on this year, unless it was like a second round pick for a running back. If we could move a second rounder for or lower, I think you've already moved your second. I'm a believer. I think you've already moved your second, but if we could move thirds and fourths or find a way to bring in someone like David Montgomery for just production this year, for 1 to 2 more years of production out of a player, David Montgomery, or some cheaper producing running back. So we'll take a look at trades involving that as well, just to fill out that one spot of your lineup, to remove question marks each week so you're not feeling like I have to pick the right guy or I lose the week. I'd like you to just have a little bit more confidence with each starting lineup that you have. Overall, I don't hate this team coming out of a draft. I don't hate this team coming out of a startup. I do typically trade back where I've got someone like Josh Allen, but he's also, you always have that option to use Josh Allen or trade back with Josh Allen after the draft. It's not something you have to do in draft. You can always down tier and pull value out of there if you feel like you need to. So we'll come up with a write-up for that. That'll be there. I'll probably do a couple of those write-ups tonight. Otherwise, they'll be there within 24 hours tomorrow. Thank you very much, K-Walls, for sending this one in. Let's take a jump back to some trades. If you guys are looking to get your team covered in depth like that, and we went for a while on this one, that was probably 15 to 20 minutes on just this one team with the options, and I'm going to go longer on it afterwards and come up with some real trades. If you're looking to have that level of detail on your team, you can submit it on our site, boombustfantasy.com. Let's switch back to the trades view. Throckler, can I submit my team? I need guidance. Anyone can. Anyone can. It's right there. I mean, it's up here on the TikTok feed. If you're on Twitch and YouTube, I'm kind of just pointing at my room. We were able to show more on Twitch and YouTube. It's right here. There's the website there. Kevin Walls, thank you very much. Let's, on my screen, put the next trade up here. I'm going to refresh the count on the trade queue. If you guys are looking to get your trade questions answered, we've got 8 in the queue. And let me refresh on, we just have the one team review in there. I see a couple people saying that they had, what's the turnaround on paid team reviews for Fine? We would do it tonight. Fine, if you submitted it right now, we'd pull it up in the next 3 to 5 minutes. And then we do a write-up on it that comes out within 24 hours. AJP, you're out of credits somehow. And Fine said already submitted. Let me double check that because I'm not seeing it pop up here. Maybe it's taking a minute. Okay, I think I see what's going on. I think I see what's going on with that one. We've got some people who have team. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's go from here. If you have gone through the checkout with the team review, you do still need to submit your specific team. If you go to team advice on the desktop, here's how it looks. It'll be the team advice tab. And then up here in the top right, it lets you pick your league. I'm assuming some of you just made your account and that you've selected the league that you want it to be for. And then you just hit request team review. There you go. It's like Fine saying Scadabo's Law. Oh, I just see it coming through right now. All right, thank you, Fine. Let's do a trade and then we'll jump to Fine on Scadabo's Law. We've got this one from Josh Allen's daddy. This is another trade from the same person. When you create your account, we do give trade credits. So we do often get people posting a couple different questions. So we've already covered Josh. I keep thinking, I know someone named Joe Daddy I'm in a league with. When I see the name Josh Allen's daddy, it makes me think Joe Daddy. Let's set this one live. Let's talk about it, and then we'll jump to Fine's team for review. Just doing a little bit of writing for that next team review. Here we go. Josh Allen's daddy, 5'6", in Baby Boo Dynasty. It's a 12-team, 1-quarterback start 8. A little bit shallower. Probably closer to your standard redraft in terms of lineup necessity and value for players. On this one, I feel like we're missing some players. Josh Allen's daddy. It's on your screen. I don't like to just dismiss any trade outright, but this one feels like we're missing some pieces or something happening here, because we've got Breece Hall for Jalen Waddle, Tony Pollard, Greg Dulcich, Chuba Hubbard. Okay, no, I'm wrong on that. I think I'm taking the. Okay, let's take a look at your team, Josh. Which side of this are you? You need Breece Hall. All right, I'm going to pause and reset everything that I just had. When I pull up these trades, I do also see just their general trade values. And this feels like a trade calculator beater, with the exception that Jalen Waddle is a real piece here. Let's talk about this trade with a bit of a reset. This trade is just Breece Hall for Jalen Waddle and Chuba Hubbard. I know some people like Greg Dulcich. This league does not have any tight end premium. In this trade, I'm feeling like Dulcich and Pollard are just calculator beaters. It's a start 8 league. Tony Pollard maybe, like, if we're looking at range of outcomes for someone like Tony Pollard, he's running back 20 to 26. I know he has a streak of hitting 1,000 yards. I don't know that he stays that way this year. Am I sending all of these things? I feel like we're paying quite a bit to go to actually, the more I talk about the trade, I feel like we're paying quite a bit to go to Breece Hall. Okay. I'm sticking with the package. I look at these live. Sometimes it takes me a minute back and forth on these. I almost said Breece Hall easily clears. If I have this team where I have Jalen Waddle, I have Tony Pollard, I have Dulcich and Chuba Hubbard, I might like this trade just to move Dulcich at value. I'm not someone who typically believes in these summer late round tight ends. Each year there's a guy like Greg Dulcich. Last year was Evan Ingram, who didn't do anything. In other years, it's been Chigakonkwo. This year, again, it's Chigakonkwo. Chigakonkwo has been around for years in this range of the summer darling tight end that doesn't actually do anything. That's what I feel about Greg Dulcich. I don't know that he won't do anything. I just know that there's 2 or 3 of these guys every summer, and they rarely do anything. With all that said, I think I'm staying with this package of Waddle, Tony Pollard, Chuba Hubbard, because I bet you could get other things. If you did a lot of work in trading, you could probably just get to other running backs. I'm looking at your roster, Josh Allen's daddy. You got Chuba Hubbard, Jonah Coleman, J.K. Dobbins, Tony Pollard. It feels like you're just looking at this roster and saying, I got to get a running back, so I'm just going to send all this stuff. You should be able to get Breece Hall for Jalen Waddle or a running back in that range, just 1 for 1. And then we're just adding a ton of stuff on until that person says yes. I'd say work the wire a bit more. Check out someone like David Montgomery. Check out someone like DeAndre Swift. They're all really cheap for the production that you're going to get. You don't need to have a beautiful running back room if the rest of your team is okay. I'd say look for other things rather than just kind of forcing this one through. If you can't find anything else, I'm going to say no, I can't say to do it. I'm saying stick with Tony Pollard and Chuba Hubbard and look for other options. It's taken me a minute to get there, but that is what I would do. Let's get the next I think we said we would do that one trade, and then we'll take a look at with the team review come in for Fine in Scadabo's Law. We also see Jason with their team review coming through. Thank you, guys. Let's take a look at Scadabo's Law in Talkin' Ball Dynasty. I'll bring this one up, get it on the screen. And hopefully this is the right button. Talkin' Ball Dynasty, 10-team, 2-quarterback, start 11 PPR league. Not had your rookie draft just yet. I'll write down the timestamp. What are we doing with this team? 2 QB, start 11. Is there anything else that we need to know about it? Fine. We also have full IDP defenses. Okay, we got to pivot. Let me find. We got to pivot. I think we got to do this one off. No need to touch on that just for context. If you can, it would be awesome, is what you're saying. I don't think I can give you great advice with an IDP defense. Fine. We can revert everything that's happened up to this point. One of the reasons that we say for folks to use the site is that we have an update going out in the next couple of days that tells people, hey, if it's an IDP league, we're not going to take it. I don't have the site set up. I mean, it shows the IDP players that you have here as, let's talk about the context of this and then say that, fine, we'll get things right for you. But this isn't one that we can do. If we're counting out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 by 2, 16, 18 players here that as my guesstimation, players that all have value. The reason that we asked for the questions to come through the site is because the context of the league really matters. So if it's 18 players here that I can't assign the value to, we just don't do IDP questions. So let me get that sorted for you, and we're going to jump to the next one. I would hate to give you bad advice or advice that just isn't tuned to what your actual league is. We can talk through it. We can submit some trade questions, but with an IDP league, I don't want to steer you astray. So it's a for sure refund situation there. There's no issues, or this is not a take things and run. That's one where we would just refund that. We rarely get IDP questions through the site, and that's when we'll send that back. Let's jump to what we have here with the league. No bitch assness in football. $5.15. And let's take a look at what we've got here. From JMW 1519, in a league that is 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 9, half-point PPR. Let's go position by position on this one. I see your message. Fine. I see your message. Fine. We'll get something right. We'll get it right for you. I see. All right. So JMW. Let me make sure we have a great timestamp for him. Okay, the league is JMW. It's a 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 9, half-point PPR. We've got Lamar Jackson, Matt Stafford. I feel like we've got really good production here and actual tradability. If we needed to in this league, we could be fine just only using Matt Stafford for context. But we've got Lamar Jackson, we've got Matt Stafford. It's one quarter. You only have to start one quarterback. So I feel like there's going to be production on the bench, and we might want to look at that for maximizing your chances at hitting the playoffs. But this is probably, I'm going to say like a very strong 3, borderline 4. For your running backs, we've got Omarion Hampton, Chase Brown, Cam Scatterbo, Corey Krusky-Merritt, Woody Marks, and then Jaden Blue, Greg Holani, who may get 15% of the snaps, 10 to 15% of the snaps, if anything, in any given week, or could gain value due to an injury. Jay saying I've been looking to deal Lamar. Yeah, we might talk about some trade options to move Lamar. They're out of 4. We can go 0 through 4. So we're looking at a rating like what we saw with Lamar Jackson and Matt Stafford. That would be 3 stars out of 4. You can hit a 0, where a 0 would be a team I have where my lead running back is Ollie Gordon of Miami. That's no good running backs. That would be a 0. But here we're looking really strong. If we're looking at what would get us to a 4 at quarterback, it would just be like Josh Allen in a 1 quarterback league. Josh Allen, Drake May, the top in a 1 quarterback. We're even here with Lamar. His tradability has gone down a bit with people being concerned about his injury. Concerned about multiple years of injuries. Running backs, we've got Hampton, Brown, Scatterbo, 3 pretty young assets. We have not seen top tier production from Hampton. We're predicting it. We're predicting really good production this year from Chase Brown. So a great 1-2 punch, and Cam Scatterbo looked good last year and then got hurt. I mean, I feel like this is, again, we're right on that really great 3, not quite a 4. We don't have a Gibbs. We don't have a Bijan on this squad. We think Hampton could be that, but he's not even at the level of like a Genty, a Jeremiah Love. If we could be looking at this in a year and saying like, oh my God, Omarion Hampton's one of the best running backs, but we don't know that yet. Wide receivers, Puka, Malik, Brian Thomas, Ricky Pearsall, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jaden Higgins, Antonio Williams, Torrey Horton. Okay, some young options here. Puka's really good. Malik's really good. I like Brian Thomas as a bounce back candidate this year. This is feeling, again, like really strong. I'm penciling down, like, again, just really strong 3. It's not pushing me to a 4. If this was Puka JSN and then Brian Thomas, Pearsall, Wan'Dale, Higgins, we'd get that closer to a 4, or like Puka, JSN, Tet, and then starting to get into that tier of Wan'Dale. But it get really strong. The contending roster. We'll do a bit of a spoiler as we move into tight ends. Colson Loveland, TJ Hawkinson, Max Clare. For no tight end premium, this is just 1 tier down from the top. Loveland in tight end rankings now in Dynasty, about tight end 3, comfortably behind Brock Bowers, comfortably behind Trey McBride. We're feeling really strong across the board. No one position is the main winning position for this roster, but it's really strong with a lot of tradability at wide receiver. There's a lot of people that like Antonio Williams right now. There's a lot of people that still like Torrey Horton right now. There's a lot of people that like Jaden Higgins right now, and I don't think we should discount that there's a lot of tradability here on this team that we can use to get you probably contending a bit more. If we're looking at the projected scoring for the league, you're looking really good. We're at the top. It is very likely you make the playoffs, and it's pretty likely that you're in contention for a top 2 seed. I'm assuming you get a bye, which is something that we would want with this squad. What I want to call out here is we could probably take a lot of these things and get you more producing assets. I'm going to take a look at the top guys here. Like, we're scanning some rosters for players like Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, Saquon, these older players that you could get really good production from, but because of their age, we can pivot. We can get to them for cheaper. Second place team, they've got McCaffrey. Second place team on projected scoring, Murder Hornets. I mean, where are we? Who's Kamara, Jordan Mason? Clicking through, and I'm just going to start looking for running backs, looking for wide receivers. Like here, Ollie 9. On the projected scoring for the year, this is one thing that we say. With the projected scoring, the reason we like fantasy is because we don't actually know what's going to happen. So if we're looking at something like this where we have Ollie, they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8th on the outside looking in for the playoffs. Got the friendly exchange in here saying trade advice party. That is right. We've also, friendly exchange is one of the mods joining into the chat. So if you have questions and friendly exchange starts answering them, that's because they're very, very helpful. Jay, you've been trying to get Montgomery from him. Yeah, Montgomery, Derrick Henry, both would be really good options. So talk to me about that, because that is where I would suggest we can get some things here. Oops, clicking on the wrong spot. Talk to me about targeting Montgomery, Derrick Henry, because going through these rosters, that's the first thing I'm seeing for your squad. Like, let's go get Montgomery, let's get Derrick Henry. And the thing that I would say is, you've got Amari Hampton, you've got Chase Brown, you've got Cam Scatterbo. It's okay to say, let's send Chase Brown and get both of those guys, or let's send Chase Brown and get Derrick Henry and we send a second and bring in something else from them. Because your team, I'm looking at what else we could bring in for them, like Devontae Adams. There's a very old team that is probably on the outside of the playoffs looking in. Maybe this is their last gasp. If they're looking to take it and turn it for next year, those are the moves to make. They get rid of Montgomery, they get rid of Derrick Henry, and this is a roster to keep an eye on throughout the year. We're going to suggest moves for right now, but they also make sense going through the season. If this guy's 0-2, 0-3, does he start to make that pivot? And you could probably plant the seeds of that now. You've been asking about these players. I've been texting a guy today. He's looking at my team and saying, hey, you might want to, I have a version of this, a team that is probably on its last legs, and I'm trying to get my first round pick back, and I'm talking to someone saying, hey, it's not looking great for you. He's kind of already planting those seeds for me. And I think you can with this guy saying like, hey, this is likely the last hurrah, go for it. But if it's not working out for you, keep me in mind, is something I would say to this person. So as players that we're targeting Henry, we're targeting Montgomery, we're targeting Devontae Adams, we're targeting Chris Godwin. And I want to re-say something that we've already hit. With your roster, we only have one aging asset that we're worried about losing. We may lose Ricky Pearsall just on he doesn't ever become anything. But if we're looking to get someone to take their team and turn it into a rebuild, or start that rebuild process and give us some of these veterans, we can start packaging up players like Jaden Higgins, Cam Scatterbo, Chase Brown, possibly even Hampton, depending on the return. Wan'Dale Robinson as a younger player, Torrey Horton as a younger player. We don't need to be all youth for this team. We can bring in 1 to 2 guys at each position. So we were already talking about Montgomery. We're talking about Derrick Henry. We're talking about Devontae Adams at wide receiver. You could look at Mike Evans at wide receiver. At tight end, even if it's a one tight end league where we're not that concerned about starting multiple guys. But if it was a deeper league for people watching, we'd say hey, go get Travis Kelce if you can. You've already got that at quarterback with Matt Stafford. And I think with stuff that we've talked about, you already said, hey, you're open to moving Lamar Jackson. So what I'm going to do is just build trades around that concept. We don't want to take all our youth and move it, but when you're coming out of a rebuild, or when you have a very strong young team, this may not be a league where you're considering yourself a rebuilder, but you have a strong young team. Let's move some of that youth and turn it into production, especially if you can get paid out really well on someone like Antonio Williams, I know there are believers in him on the commies, but with the roster you have, you don't need to wait and see. You can give someone else that lotto ticket and just get a producer. Same thing with Jaden Higgins, who didn't do much in year one, but people are still hyped about him. He was a higher pick in the draft, not a first rounder for the Texans, but they had a weaker offense last year. It's reasonable to predict that Jaden Higgins looks better this year. With a team like yours, I am okay with saying, I don't need to wait on all these question marks. I'll sell some of these question marks that people are high on and just get producers. So I'm going to build some trades that look for that. But with the team that you have, you're contending this year, you're contending next year, and you just have enough youth to continuously be doing that and contending. Like, it's looking really strong. The things that we're going to try to accomplish are, can we add production to the lineup? We'll also take a look at, you've got 9 starters across the league. I think you've got a kicker and a defense in there as well. Can we do things to maximize your starting lineup? And that would be spots like a 3rd wide receiver or a 4th wide receiver that we feel really good about. So I'm going to write down like age, bring in vets, solidify a 3rd to 4th wide receiver. I'm kind of saying Brian Thomas as a bounce back, and then we want someone that we feel really good about behind that as a 4th one that we'll look for in trades. We'll also talk about things like Lamar Jackson, you talked about moving. Jay is a 27-second too much for Montgomery. It's the higher end of the market, but I don't think it's too much. I'd look at what we've seen. We did a video that I'm not sure if it's out. I'm pulling up my phone to check. I have one recorded about David Montgomery. Does it come out tomorrow, or did it come out last week? No, it comes out tomorrow. David Montgomery. He's going for cheaper is the short version of what I'm saying. A 27-second for David Montgomery is the high end of the market. I've seen people moving David Montgomery and a 3rd to get a 2nd back, stuff like that. That'll drop tomorrow morning around 6 a.m. And so check that one out for David Montgomery values. Like, he has been very cheap. Chance that I see Diggs getting signed. Maybe that started since I sat down and got the show going. I'd also look at like, hey, maybe Stephon Diggs comes on to this team. But where did he sign? Let me give my closing thoughts here. Close it to restate what I was saying about a 4th wide receiver. Like, Wan'Dale Robinson could be that, but with what you have, you could probably just get a better 4th wide receiver than Wan'Dale Robinson, or a better 4th wide receiver than whatever Ricky Pearsall or whoever you're starting there. And I think we want to target that. So we'll come up with some trades for that. We'll type all of that up for you, and you'll be able to check that tomorrow in the My Advice tab. So we've got the different nav bar options up here. Oh, TikTok thinks I'm not. Guys, I like TikTok, but they often think I'm not here at all as I'm talking. You'll be able to check that on the My Advice tab. When I click on it, it's going to show every team review that's come through, but you'll have your trade questions that have come through, and then you'll have your team review here listed there. And you'll be able to click on that with a full breakdown. It's going to look something like this for people who have not submitted your team review. Here's a shorter one with multiple different trade options running down the side with a rationale for each one of what I'm thinking about when sending these trades, a snapshot of where your team is, and then some a text breakdown of kind of what we talked about. Some of them we go pretty heavy on. I think Drake's Dynasty, it's quite a bit of a write-up. A lot of trades on there. So expect it to look something like this. I think we went like 8 to 10 different trade options for this roster here, if you're looking to get that submitted. Let's go to where that one was. Well, we'll jump back to the trade view because we're hitting the end of that one. Thank you very much for getting that submitted. Got a lot of browsers here. Let's get the next trade on the screen, and then we'll check some questions from the chat. I see you fine. Yeah, I mean, we can look at you. We'll look at it fine. We'll look at it. We'll take a look at it. I'm calling a pivot. For the folks joining, we had someone submit a review for a league we're typically not going to cover a lot of. But we'll pull this up and we'll go through it. All right, fine. With your league, we got a 12-team, 2-quarterback. It's a start 11, and it's an IDP league. We'll go through these position by position. Ryan Martin, it should automatically update. Let me update it right now. I see what you're asking. Then we'll talk about fine. Had to think of where to go to do that. Got 12 in the queue. I'm hitting update here. I'll hit update here, and it should, for you, Ryan, update. Let's hit this, hit that. It should update generally in real time. I just hit a refresh for you. All right, fine. With Scadabo's Law. Quarterbacks. Drake May, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love. In a 2-quarterback league, this is where we're getting into that. Hey, this is a 4. This is what we're looking for. 4. Strong. Very good. For context, this year is first rookie draft. Last year was the startup. Okay, first year rookie draft, and you have not had your rookie draft yet. So we'll put that into context. So for people on the stream, you can check the future rookie picks right here. Here's 2026. Like at quarterbacks, really strong, great production, probably tradability, and we may look to make some moves here. Running backs, we got Jahmyr Gibbs, Chase Brown, Cam Scadabo. Nothing else behind that, but again, like really strong. Really, I mean, a very good top 3 at the position. I'm gonna break down the number 3 as a rating on this one because there's just, we'd want something behind it. And in the same way that we're saying like Drake May and Lamar Jackson as the 1-2 punch, great. Jahmyr Gibbs to Chase Brown is really, really good, but it's not the best. It's not Gibbs. It's not Gibbs and Genty would put us into that 4 range. Wide receivers, Puka, Pickens, Rice, Jamison Williams, Jordan Addison, Johnston, Coker. And then we start to get into the bottom bins. Tank Dell, probably a value riser this year coming back. I don't know that people are pricing in that the player wants to come back and play again and has been very good. Adonai Mitchell could still have a role for the Jets. At wide receiver, we're saying, let's see, Puka, Pickens. I'm going to write down, my gut is saying write down 3. Pickens as the second option. We would want someone a bit ahead of Pickens to push us all the way up to a 4. Rashee Rice with a lot of question marks, but really, really strong. A lot of options for value risers here. Like I like Jordan Addison. I still kind of like Jamison Williams. I am a Rashee Rice believer. I think I'm holding on with Rice, thinking he's starting this year. When he's starting, he puts up massive numbers. So we're looking like contending with all of the offensive pieces that you have here. At tight ends, you got Tucker Kraft, Isaiah Likely. That I see a tight end premium on this league. No tight end premium on this league, but Isaiah Likely is probably someone that I might look to move with a team like this. He's probably the clear option of, let's just remove a question mark. That's the way that I would look at it so far. Tucker Kraft feeling pretty strong. We're looking at like a 2 here at tight end. We'll talk through a couple moves here. Some moves that I might look to make would be taking Lamar, taking Drake May, finding some sort of pairing where we down tier from one of those guys, but at the same time, just move Isaiah Likely for a better tight end, or move Isaiah Likely for a decent tight end and beef out wide receiver, because the lineup here looks really strong. If we scroll up, you traded Ladd at 26 first and a second for Lamar. I like that move. I like that move. Ladd at 26 first and a second for Lamar. The one thing that I'll add is, okay, that's a move you made in week 2. I mean, I think that's great. That's probably why you have Jordan Love on this roster. We want to find a way to maximize what's on your roster. How often can we get it into the starting lineup? So we're going to look at deals involving, like, can we move Isaiah Likely and Jordan Love? Can we move Isaiah Likely and Lamar Jackson? With a roster as strong as yours, if I can remove question marks, I will. Because when we look at the chart of your projected scoring on offensive pieces, you're at the top. Like, you're looking really strong. So let's try to make it stronger. We don't need every top projected scoring team to also have a lot of question mark options, like the way that I would view a second round pick player. Like last year, this would have been Jack Besh. This year, it's Antonio Williams for the Commies. Sometimes it works out. Other times it doesn't. Sometimes the player becomes usable in fantasy. Other times they're Jack Besh, a player we don't really talk about anymore. And now he's on the Raiders behind Tyquan Thornton, possibly behind Trey Tucker on the Raiders. Like, we don't know who the best wide receiver on that team is. Could be none of them. So with someone, and for me, Isaiah Likely falls into that range. He's got some hype right now. If we can just remove this question mark by moving another piece that people like and coming away with two pieces that we feel stronger about their value, we'll look to make a deal like that. So that's the first thing that I see here. I mean, I like Addison as someone I wouldn't really be selling. I think he's going to have a value rise throughout the season. If we needed to, and someone in your league liked Rashee Rice at the highest end of the market, and we weren't selling low on Rashee Rice, so we'll explore some trades for Rice. We'll explore some trades for Likely. We'll explore some QB trades to find a way to go from 3 startable quarterbacks to 2 really good quarterbacks and a bye week fill-in, a Geno Smith, an Aaron Rodgers, or no one. Plenty of dynasty leagues I have that are super flex. I just stick with 2 and then assume that by only having 2 quarterbacks, I've made the rest of my lineup good enough that in those 2 weeks when I have to start something else in the super flex, I can either get by or it's not going to be a year ruiner for me. So we'll look at options like that. I think Jordan Love is a bit low on value compared to his production. So we'll say that maybe we're moving Lamar Jackson and saying that the trade that you made for Lamar Jackson earlier, we buy in on the player with like a first, a second, and lad, I think you said, and then cash out in a way that's better than having a second round pick. We're not going to suggest moves that move Lamar Jackson that bring back junk. And in my mind, like, the second round pick sometimes becomes a good player, but often becomes kind of junk. So we'll suggest trades that don't bring back junk. You move junk to get a player, and then we trade that player with no junk coming back, and that's the win for us. Let's see. You offered Chase Brown and Rice for Higgins and Achane. I'm not sure that one gets accepted. That feels close. Like, if someone likes Rice, that could go through. That feels like a Chase Brown and Rice for Higgins and Achane. I don't know that we're getting that one through. That feels like, I mean, that would be selling high on Rice, like hitting the high end on Rice, but did they accept it? He's selling Achane. Did he take that deal? I'm going to make a note of what I think could get you Devon Achane, because you have the pieces to go get a move like that. So we'll take a look at some trades like that. We'll get you a write-up on here. He has not responded yet. It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't. And that's one of those offers that's an offer that just feels like it's closer. It's not exactly this type of offer, but it feels like one of those things that people send that out, it gets declined, and then they say nobody in my league trades. I mean, maybe I'm misreading this one. If you guys are in the chat, the trade is Chase Brown and Rashee Rice for T. Higgins and Devon Achane. I think most people are sticking with Achane there. But if you guys aren't, let me know. So we'll take a look at some options there. We've talked through kind of, hey, where can you pull some of that value from? You would have to add a third asset, probably. We'll come up with some options for you on the suggested trades. And we'll pivot from there. Is there anything else that we want to say about this team? You got round 1 in 2028 from Cleveland Browns. They're a team that is probably contending for a while. That you've got their 28 first round pick. With your team, am I taking... I would look at... Actually, the other thing that I would say is if I could move your 303, 306, 406, 506 and get other things or add those into trades, I would probably rather do that than make the pick. Because your team is a contending roster, I'm okay with saying like, hey, we'll cap some of the upside of the 303. Could be a star player, but often it's not. So teams to target for trades, I mean, I'll write them up for you. I write up teams that we target for trades. This is the Achane T. Higgins guy. He probably wants future pick value or a young player. We'll take a look at, this is a good team to target for trades. We'll take a look at what they're open to. It's possible they want a tight end. I mean, Isaiah Likely might be included in that tight end in that trade for Achane here. So I'll pencil him in as an option for the Achane trade. Is he also looking to move T. Higgins? Maybe you're bringing in Mike Evans if he's trying to get out on that. The picks will be used for defense, and you agree with a lot, if not moved. Yeah. It's just that if you're in a deeper rebuild, we'll take those picks and we'll take our shots to try to get upside and really boost the value of your team. Like last year, I think it was guys like Oronde Gadsden in the 3rd round that wound up being hits, but it's mostly misses. We'll go through a couple of these fighting Nelsons at the bottom of the barrel. Can we get... If this guy's willing to move on from Brian Thomas, I would look at that. He's one of the lower projected lineups for the league. If you could go get Brian Thomas, I would be open to doing something like that. Same thing with Ladd McConkey coming off a down year. And then nothing else is really that interesting to me other than maybe a Bucky Irving. If he wants to move on from Bucky Irving and you bring him in to be your 3rd running back that's filling in at flex weeks, that would be something. Neighborhood Warden could want another running back if you were to acquire one, but a weaker team. And House Tuwati doesn't have Tua. Maybe I don't know how to read that. This would be another target for someone to come get Isaiah Likely. They don't have an early 1st round or a mid 1st round pick to bring in someone like Kenyon Sadiq. If you can offer up Isaiah Likely to a team that is looking to be very weak at tight end production, but in the mix to make the playoffs this year, that would be someone to take a look at. And then we'll also look at like the fighting Nelsons does not have a quarterback. They've already decided that they are probably bringing in maybe someone like Mendoza at 103. Jacob Weber with Daniel Jones. They have 101, 105. You could possibly move someone like Jordan Love here to bring in pieces. So we'll take a look at that as well. Weber for Love or other quarterbacks. Alrighty. Thank you very much, Fine. You should have that by tomorrow in the advice. We typically turn them around in 24 hours. If we end up with a higher number of them, that we'll be pushing that past the 24-hour mark, but by the end of tomorrow, Thursday. For anyone who submitted their team for review. Let's jump to trades, because we've got 12 trades in the queue as of the reset. Let's catch up on some of these. Trades Minkster, The Stooges Season 4. Let's set this one live, because this looks like, I've got a preview of it. It looks like a big package. That's what she said. One side, Bijan Robinson. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Are you guys doing this in a 12-team, one quarterback, 6-point passing touchdown where you're starting 7? It's a PPR league. The most valuable asset in this league is Bijan, Jamar Chase, Gibbs up there. We'll cover this trade, and then I see some messages from the TikTok chat we'll jump back to. Is anyone taking this? And which side of this deal is Minkster on? Minkster has Bijan. Is there a reason to take this mega package? You've got 228 firsts, no 27 firsts. Are we okay, I don't think I am. Bijan Robinson for Javonte Williams, Jalen Waddle, Brock Purdy in a 1-quarterback league, Alec Pierce, the 110. Minkster, that's my team. That's my team. You're the Bijan side? AJP is saying Bijan easy. I think I'm going to end up saying that I would do Bijan because you're bringing in Alec Pierce, the 110, the 112, the 206. All right, just for my mental, Minkster, sometimes I ask a question then immediately forget what the question was. Flymatic, first time chatter on Twitch, says Bijan side all day. Minkster, the way that the roster shows for me is that you have Bijan. Did you make this trade or did you always have Bijan and you're considering selling him? Friendly exchange, he has Bijan. Sometimes people submit these and they want to get their trade graded for something that they did in the past. This is sending a ton to get Bijan. I don't know that I would take all of this stuff on my team and offer it up. But if I have Bijan, it's been offered. Unless I knew my league traded a ton and I brought in all of this stuff and there were not rules against who I would need to drop on my roster to go through and like do all the dropping of players that have some value. Although I could probably find players to drop here. You've not answered yet. If you're looking to move Bijan, this is probably not the vision that I would have. This is probably not the vision that I would have. But looking at your roster, like in a 1-quarterback, we've got Mahomes and Jordan Love. You could probably make it through. Flymatic with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you, Flymatic, with the Twitch Prime sub. When will you be reviewed, Throckler? I don't see a team review for you, Throckler. Check in. No, yeah. If we're missing one for you, Throckler, check with Friendly Exchange. Otherwise, you may be on the AJP says trade review. Okay, we'll take a look right after that to get you the queue spot. With this team, we just want to suggest something else. I think. Like, it's so much stuff. But do we want Brock Purdy in a 1-quarterback league? Not really. Do we want Alec Pierce in a 12-team start 7? Not really. Jalen Waddle and Javonte Williams, definitely usable for you. The 110, 112, 206, unlikely. I'd say find something else. This is a guy taking a bunch of just kind of not junk. It's not junk tier stuff, but trying to just take a bunch of tiny horses and move them up for a big old pony in Bijan. If you're trying to do a rebuild, this feels like the type of trade that gets offered to you, not the type of trade that I would ever send out for Bijan. I'm going to say stay with Bijan. And if you're rebuilding, we've got a video on how I build my rebuild trades and like the things that I try to accomplish, where with your roster, if you're thinking you're rebuilding, like I kind of want to get value for Jaden Reed. I want someone to buy Travis Kelce from me. I want someone to buy George Kittle from me. And the way to get them to buy those players in a trade is by saying, we're only doing package deals. If you're buying Bijan, you're buying George Kittle. If you're buying Bijan, you're paying me the full price for Jaden Reed or for Parker Washington. We're getting an overpay here, but then we're just doing other trades. And what I want to say for you is, unless you unless I know that you're a great trader and you can take in all of these extra bits and bobs and roll them up into a big snowball, I'd say don't. If it was a deeper league, maybe you're on Keep Trade Cut looking at that and saying, well, the trade calculator says it's an overpay. I don't think that's counting in that it's a start 7. And in a start 7 league, you need the best pieces. Well, so the next one on, actually, let's clear this out and make sure that we're checking the questions from the chat. Like Injuries, you sent in a trade review. Thank you very much. We've got the trade queue going. We're at 12 in the queue. I think we're at 11 after that one. AJP is just shouting AJP. Throckler says, why can't I use my 3 trade credits for a team review? Because they're for trade questions. Throckler, I spent 14. My last money's on football gear. You can see in my profile. We appreciate you being here, Throckler. Dean Carroll, the app my Dynasty team is named after does not account for it being a start 7. Oh, it does account for it being a start 7. Does. That's Walter Picks, right? You can say it. I don't mind if you say that. I'm not familiar with it. I could not say a good thing or a bad thing about it other than the guy from the Walter Pigs videos says math on his hat, and I like that. The trade question do we see from Throckler in the league? What was the league name on that one? Slaw. My team is Slaw Bunnies. I see the submitter names and the league names. You're telling him that Slaw Bunny's nuts. If it's a trade review, we're going to cover it. Let's talk about Meaners. Gotten Meaners multiple times on the show. Meaners, thank you for the submission. We've got the trade. Jeremiah Love in a 12-team Superflex start 9 PPR. Ollie Gordon on the return. 27 projected late first. Okay. A 29 first, a 27 first, and a 28 second. Are we doing this trade? The notes say, I got Jeremiah Love by sending this deal out, not thinking he'd accept it, but here we are. And that's exactly the same way I would describe this one. You got this. You sent out a bunch of stuff. Ollie Gordon gets counted on a trade calculator. It'll boost that little bar. Does not have real value for you here. A projected late 27 first, a 28 second, and a 29. I'm taking Jeremiah Love here because I can probably, if I'm a team that just earned Jeremiah Love, I could probably do more with Love than just get a 27, a 29, and a 28 second. I have some teams that I got Jeremiah Love and I've already been doing more. So we've got videos on rebuilding and the way I think about trades to check out on YouTube. We won't go super in depth on here. We'll keep hitting trades, but I'm taking the Jeremiah Love here, the Jeremiah Love side. For your team, yeah, sending that level of picks. If that gets you there, great. If the Jeremiah Love guy does not look at his team and say, he just wants to keep rolling up firsts and hope that you get enough of them, I think you could come up with other better options. Let's hit Hot Hands Hanan, submitted 4 hours ago, and try to just get us up on the trade queue. The 27 first and Christian Kirk, or Luther Burden, a second, and a third. And these do have projections on them. Projected mid-second, projected late second, and a projected late third. This owner is obsessed. We've got notes on this one too, so let's talk about it. The owner is obsessed with 27 firsts. He already has 3 and wants even more. My 27 first is projected to be early, but my team has a chance to make the playoffs, so I won't be in position to draft Jeremiah Smith anyway. Burden could be a great rental for me if he has any kind of season everyone expects. You could always trade him next year for even more value. I'm also thinking on starting to build up some 27 seconds. Let's take a look at your team. Hanan. You've got, are you a projected? We've got the roster here. In a 12-team start 11, is this a projected early 27 first? If you're on the Twitch and YouTube feed, you could check out the roster here. We're looking at Superflex, Joe Burrow, Tyler Shuck. That's usable. That's contending. You can contend with that. Running backs, James Cook, Cam Scatabo, David Montgomery. Like, you can contend with that. Wide receivers, Ibuka, Ladd, DJ Moore, Downs, Pittman. We could contend with that. Tight ends, Stowers, Likely, Dulcich, Komet. Is this a projected early first? I don't know that it is. A first for Luther Burden is about the price. Your team could be a contending playoff team. If you're just saying, I don't think I'm going to be a top 6 and Luther Burden helps me get there, and then I'm trading Christian Kirk for 2 seconds and a third, sure. I think the value's on that Burden side. I'll add in, if you just want to hold your first and not do this deal, I am a-okay with that. Or if you want to use your first and think that you could do more with it, I am a-okay with that. Sometimes the trade question is just like, would I do this? I don't know that I'm always looking to take my 27 first, my own first, and move it for that stuff. But is it a value win? Could you take these things and come away with more? Like, yeah. Rude dude in the league, just a bit off sides. 10-team, 1 quarterback start 8. It's a big trade here. It's a shallower league. 80 players started each week. This is going to start covering my face. Let's talk through this one. We got A.J. Brown, Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, the 105 and a 27 first. On the other side, we've got CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor, Kamara. Do we care about Kamara? I was trying to think of a way to say Kamara. I said it and I don't like it. The 301, a 27 third, and a 28 second. Okay. Let's start just saying, like, are we moving A.J. Brown and Kyron Williams for CeeDee Lamb? Yeah. Are we moving the 105 and a 27 first for Jonathan Taylor? That's where we start to look at this and say, we're kind of paying the high price for Lamb and Taylor. The notes here are saying, well, actually, we've got the notes here. Looking to get off of Taylor and CD. Biggest goal is to gain the first next year. I'm fine with the down tier from A.J. Brown to Lamb and Jonathan Taylor to Kyron. We'll have 3 first next year if it goes through. This team has Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice. 3 27 firsts if they do this trade. Let's talk about this a couple ways. Is the trade fine? Yeah. If I had the A.J. Brown side, am I looking to make this big of an up tier and bring in like extra thirds and seconds? Not really. Not really. But with the roster that we have here, where we're saying we're trying to bring in more 27 firsts, like at some point, you have to contend. And I think you just have a contending roster here. In a 10-team start 8, you've got Joe Burrow. 1 quarterback, Joe Burrow is good enough. You also have Stafford. You also have Herbert. We could probably be trading Herbert or Stafford to make your starting lineup better or younger. You have 2 future firsts next year to replace any quarterback. So we could probably condense some of this quarterback. Is this the direction I would take things? Not quite. Are we getting enough in the move here to bring in this 27 first and the 105 in this year's draft? The 105 in this year's draft in a 1 quarterback league is going to be like Mendoza and probably not even Mendoza because it's a 1 quarterback. So we're not getting Tyson Lemon. We're not getting Jeremiah Love. We're looking at like Jadarian Price at 105. If I have CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor here, it's not horrible. It's close. I might think I'd say, like, Rude Dude, have you checked out the trade builder to take a look at other options that you might have here for moving CeeDee Lamb? I don't know that this is a deal that I'm like aching to make just to get a 27 first. If you just want a 27 first, can you move Jonathan Taylor for a couple firsts or other things? Jason Smith says there is a world where Kyron and Brown finish above Taylor and Lamb. Possible. It's possible. I'm torn on this one. I'm gonna say, like, it's even. I might look to do other things, but I don't necessarily hate it. I talked through it quite a bit. Sometimes an answer jumps out later. Like, sometimes the trade is just even. I'll add in, as we clear that one off, getting much, like, we're trying to bring in 27 firsts. We're also just getting much older with AJ Brown. Let's go with Tungerlind. This one came in. This was a conversion from a TikTok comment to a question on the show. The notes here, just looking for some advice on the trade. Personally, I'm kind of leaning towards getting Jamar Chase, but I love hearing other opinions. I appreciate it. On this deal, would you send a 27 projected late first, Tet McMillan, and Saquon Barkley to bring in Jamar Chase? It's a 12-team Superflex start 9. Jason Smith says Chase. On the roster here, if we push all in for Chase, can we still contend? Is Tet and a first get us to Chase? Probably not. So Saquon Barkley is the overpay. It's right around the value. Probably a slight up pay with value, with like one value losing asset on the year, Saquon, one riser, Tet McMillan, and then they think their team is contending in this setup. 12-team Superflex start 9 with Trevor Lawrence and Stroud as the quarterbacks. You'd then have Jahmyr Gibbs and Kyle Monangai as the top 2 running backs. And then wide receivers would become Chase, Rice, Waddle, Jacoby Myers. Tight ends, Stowers, Hawkinson. I could see this one blowing up. Jason Smith says shallow league. It's shallower. We've definitely hit more shallow leagues. I don't know that the roster here is like strong enough to up tier. If I had this roster, I'm not sure I would up tier. I think if we're just looking at value, like, we're hitting the bit of an overpay. But I'll say it's an even deal that I'm probably not champing at the bit to make. But it is also one, like, yeah, you could do it, and I wouldn't think you're dumb. Let's go for the next one. We got Doom 2627. If you guys are looking for your spot in the queue on Twitch and on YouTube, we have the queue. It says right there, 8 trades in the queue, and then it just scrolls across with who's up next. Doom as the next one up. We've got Doom right here. This deal, Puka Nacua for Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey. And this is a 10-team start 10. Full PPR. Jason Smith says Bauer side, whether it's a tight end premium or not, it's a full extra point tight end premium. This is the Bauer side for me. Because of that giant tight end premium and the role that he has on that offense, we're projecting, even with Jason Smith saying free, it's a free McConkey, LOL. I think it's more than just a free McConkey. This is the Brock Bauer side by a lot for me. If we were doing a startup draft right now, I'm taking Bowers ahead of Puka Nacua with a full point tight end premium. And then it's just Ladd McConkey on top. That's the way we're looking at this one. We don't need to go too far in depth on that. Let's go with Snaggle. The trade from Snaggle, 8-team Superflex, start 9. We've got Lamar Jackson, Devontae Adams, or Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir. I'm taking Josh Allen here. Steven, I see you. We'll come to your question in just a moment. I'm taking Josh Allen here. Like, I like Devontae Adams to produce for me. If I bring in Khalil Shakir, and it's an 8-team start 9. Take out Shakir, and it's still easily Allen, which is what we need to start doing here. Is it still easily Allen? Yes. Yeah. So this does feel like we move Lamar, we send Devontae Adams to up tier to Josh Allen. 8-team Superflex, like that is the price to up tier, and I'm okay with doing it. Then you get Khalil Shakir kind of just for free on this deal. I don't know that you can then take Khalil Shakir and do that much with him. And in an 8-team start 9, how often are you starting him? I don't know, 2 times a year. But I think we're still taking the Josh Allen side. But if I did this deal, would I then just take Josh Allen and Shakir and be open to down tiering to a different younger receiver? Yes. So for people watching, if this isn't your trade, I am okay with doing stuff like this where I send Devontae Adams and Lamar to get Josh Allen. Let's say I'm rebuilding and I just want to get paid out on Devontae Adams. You get paid out on Devontae Adams here, you get Josh Allen, and then you can still just down tier to a different quarterback and bring in a different wide receiver. And that is a way to get younger or better at a certain position. You just need to make multiple trades. I just call it trading in sequence. So if you guys are looking for deals or thinking of deals or just thinking about trading in general, where you're trying to get better at one position, you don't always have to get that position in a trade to then be able to go get better at that position. Like Josh Allen is really easy to, people like Josh Allen. If someone isn't trading for them, it's because they don't think Allen fits for their team, or they don't feel like they want to give up the assets that it would take. But that's just a slight tangent on that one. Now, we had the question from Steven Scherzer on the YouTube chat saying, where do we submit our team for review? It's been a minute. We've been talking for a while. We're at an hour 38 into the show. We do a demo at the start of the show, and I'm vamping as I reset the demo of how to get things set up. Let's take a look. I need to go in the database and unlink my demo account. I need to log out from the demo account so that it goes back to the landing page. Thank you, Heller, for the follow. Let's take a look. Steven Scherzer, if you're on the widescreen views on Twitch and YouTube, it might look a little bit easier to follow. We've got our site, boombustfantasy.com. It is the same name as the TikTok page. It's the same name as the YouTube page. On Twitch, we have a different name because we also stream gaming. I don't know why I stopped so hard after that sentence. Here's our site. If you want to submit your team or your trade questions, you come to our site, boombustfantasy.com. You click Get Started. It is incredibly easy to make your account. Greasy K saying you demand. Thank you, Greasy K, for everything you do as you're supporting us on Mondays and Wednesdays. Here's how easy it is to make your account. Here's the login page. It's going to say, continue with your Google account, continue with your Discord. We connect our site to Discord, where you can then just post your trade questions as a poll in our Discord with a link back to your league scoring. To make your account, I'm logged in with my Gmail on this instance of Google Chrome. My account is already made. It is just one button. And then you type in your sleeper account so that it goes and gets your league. All your leagues. Mine is just my name. Feel free to steal my identity. We don't have any money, but come try to steal it if you want. It just went to Sleeper's code base and pulled all the leagues that I'm in based on the username I typed in. What you do from here is just the site is going to show you one of your teams at any given point. It'll show you one of your leagues at any given point. You just select one to start with. I like to show Boom Bust 8 because it's a league where I don't have any running backs, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. So for this demo, we're going to skip over the connecting to Discord, but you can also just connect to Discord so that you can post your trade questions right to the Discord as a poll with a link back to all of your league's settings. It's going to show our team. If you want to submit any of your trade questions, creating your account does just grant you trade question credits to get your questions answered on the show, no cost. You can come to the trade advice tab. It'll show how many credits that you have there. You can hit request expert review, and then you just type in your players. I don't know why I said the word players and then typed the word players. But let's say you wanted to have a trade like we just talked about, Josh Allen for Lamar and Devontae Adams. You can then hit request expert review and select submit, and that's going to add your trade question to the queue. If you want us to go through your team on a deep dive, just make sure that you have the league selected, your team selected from here, and then go to the specific league that you want, and then go to team advice. This does require a team review credit that does not get granted at the creation of your account because I think it's a premium product. So once you have a trade credit or a team review credit, you just hit request team review and that'll add it into the queue. If you let us know in the chat, we'll jump right to it. That is where you submit your team for review. And now when we started the demo, I said I wanted to pick this league because I don't have any running backs. I want to show you guys a tool that we have for building dynasty trades. It's in beta right now. I'm hovering over it. It's called our Trade Builder. I've got a league right here where I have no running backs. We've talked about on the team reviews, what does a 1 look like? It looks like this. Running backs, I have Ollie Gordon, Devin Neal, Isaac Guerrero, and Damian Martinez. I'm not even sure the guy's name. I have 4 running backs and they're all kind of junk. These are all real human beings. Probably not junk as people, but for fantasy football, terrible. We've got our trade builder. If I said I want to move Jackson Dart, I'll just roll with Herbert and Bryce Young because I need a running back. I've got Ty Simpson for next year if Bryce Young is a horrible setup, and then I'll have future picks to replace quarterback. Let's say I want to move Jackson Dart and I want a running back. And let's say I'll also be fine with moving Rome Odunze in this package. I've clicked those 2 players and our trade builder has just started building trades based on the actual rosters in our league and the scoring settings of our league. Now let's say I want a running back and maybe a wide receiver. I've set it so that the trade has to include at least 1 running back and at least 1 wide receiver. And then it's gone through the league and said, well, if you want to go 2 for 2, here's fair value trades ranked by their closeness in trade market value. I could trade for Jeremiah Love and Jaden Higgins. I could trade for Achane and Terry McLaurin. Those are fair value trades based on the roster. If I wanted to go 2 for 3, it has suggested that. This is free to use. I've already started getting trades in my leagues from people using the trade builder, and we've accepted them. I've started building trades this way and sending them out to people and getting trades actually accepted. If you are in leagues and you're saying nobody trades in my league, I think it's either a combination of you're not sending out good value trades, or you just don't know who to trade for, and you don't have a way to quickly build out even value trades. We've made it incredibly easy to do. I think, check it out. Check it out. It's free to use. It's the trade builder on the site. Let's keep going on trade questions. We got Snaggle. I think this is one that we had looked at, the Lamar Jackson trade. Let's talk about AJ Palm 7 in the Domination League. Is Keon Coleman dead in Deep Dynasty, says Brando? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. I don't know that he's dropped here yet. AJ Palm in a 12-team Superflex start 8. So a shallower 12-team league. Let's take a look at this trade. I'm reading the notes on it, and I will read these notes for you. On one side of the deal, we have Nico Collins, Dalton Kincaid in the 304, or Saquon Barkley, Christian Watson, and Chig Okonkwo. The notes here say, hey, Buster, which I like. I am okay if you call me Buster. My buddy here thinks this is a fair trade. I'm team 2, and I think he's robbing me. AJ Palm has Christian Watson. So how do we break this down? They've got Christian Watson, Saquon Barkley, and Chig Okonkwo. Do we feel like we're getting robbed here? I don't know that we are. I don't know that we're getting robbed here. I'm not that big of a believer in Chig for AJ Palmer. We have Colston Loveland. Would I be fine with moving Chig Okonkwo in this deal? Jason Smith says, why do I lean Nico? I feel like I'm missing what everyone sees in Watson. Throckler, are you AJ Palmer? I don't think so. Greasy K, I see your message. I like it quite a bit. I like Christian Watson. Jason Smith says, why do I lean Nico? Because it's a decent value deal. If we're just looking at tradability or like excuse me. If we're just looking at current trading value, this is an even deal. Chigakonkwo, slightly more valuable than a 304. The thing that I would give for context on this trade is like, if you bring in the 304, you likely have to make that pick and that value can just kind of go away. But we could get a month into the season and Chigakonkwo goes away. I don't know that you'll be able to do anything with the 304 in a trade. If you don't want to make this deal, AJ Palmer, you don't have to. Dalton Kincaid has let people down, is what we're seeing from Jacob Myers. I think that's fine to say that. So if you don't want to make this deal, like, don't. That doesn't make it not even. And sometimes even trades on a calculator, you look at them and like, it just doesn't feel right to you. That's fine. But if you want to stay with Saquon Barkley and Christian Watson, Chigakonkwo, I think that's okay. If I had Nico Collins, would I even offer this deal? If I really believed in Christian Watson, I would. I think I'm okay with sticking with Watson. But on the same side, what we saw with who had said that, Jason Smith, why do I lean Nico? Because he's also been really good. Throckler says, imagine relying on a trade calculator. I don't rely on a trade calculator. I don't often suggest that people use a trade calculator. We have our trade builder that builds out even value trades based on real trades that have happened. I don't often use a trade calculator other than for finding, is this in line with the market? I think this one's even if your gut doesn't like it, stay where you're at. But I could see myself being happy on both sides of this deal. I like Nico Collins. And if I wanted to have a second tight end for your team, I don't see why it would make sense to bring in okay. Was my face just frozen on the TikTok feed? I think it is. Okay, am I back on TikTok? My face was just frozen on my screen. It said live disconnected. For your team where you're sending Chig and you have Colston Loveland, Dalton Kincaid doesn't actually help you that much. So we'll add that context in. Just stay where you're at. If you don't like it, I don't see any reason to for sure do it. So stay where you are. Here we go. Papalos 97 in the Sunday Stress League. Is Papalos here? Ooh, we've got 12-team, 1 quarterback start, 9. Ted McMillan and a 27 first with Elijah Surratt for Malik Neighbors. Is Papalos just joining in? I think I saw, if I have that right, I think that's him who just joined in as we're starting on this one. Let me know if you're here. That was you. Okay. There are times on stream where I will say things and then immediately forget everything about it, and it makes it look like I don't remember anything. But come on, I saw I'm sure these letters mean something to you, but GAHXGCG, that is not something to remember. That is Papalos, and I think I got it. I think I got that one. How are we feeling on this trade? Ted McMillan, 27 first. Chat, let me know. Like, we got Jason Smith here. You're saying it's close, Jason? I feel like it's close as well. Sorry, it's a spam, but there's no spam. There's no spam. I'm just calling out that while live stream rambling, I don't remember anything I say, but I do have a good memory to put those together. Chop wood, carry trophies, carry championships. How are we feeling on this? Am I moving Tet and a 27 first? We got Resident Allen. Where's Resident Allen? Where do we feel this first is? Mid-pack? I mean, I think this one, here's what I say on this one. I think this goes through without Elijah Surratt on it. Do I think that I want to do it? I would rather, me personally, Jason Smith saying you lean Tet. I lean the Tet side, or staying on the Tet side, and then taking this 27 first and saying, like, can I pair it with Parker Washington, who's on this roster, and come away with a better receiver? Can I pair this? I don't hate the deal, but can we get more? Or can we get something better? Just the opportunity cost of saying, like, hey, Tet to Malik, that is an upgrade. That's not a horrible value upgrade, but can we go Parker Washington at a first and come away with a much better receiver? Can we do like Parker Chigakonkwo in a first and come away with a much better wide receiver? Stuff like that. Right. I don't know that I think we're hitting the high end of what we're paying here as well. So I'd say stick there, stick with the side that you're on. Was all okay. Well, let's check out the notes here. He's thinking about it, which is good. This would be the cheapest time to, okay. I'm reading the sentences of the notes going backwards. Let me just start and say them all out loud in order for the people in the chat. Just looking to move Tet for either a receiver or more upside, or a better option to compete. Well, I think Tet still has upside. Most other teams are pretty stingy with their players, so I think this would be the cheapest time to get Malik. He's thinking about it, which is good. I think I can put in a player in the flex to wait for Neighbors to get healthier. Was offered London for the same package, but it seems like an obvious fleece. The value on Malik Neighbors is the lowest, is likely or possibly the lowest that it will be over the next 2-3 years. That wouldn't surprise me, but you're not paying that price. This is like the end of the month is the time to go to the car dealership because the prices are low. And then you just go in and say, I'll give you MSRP plus more. That's what this feels like. Like the value of Malik Neighbors should be low, but you're not paying the low price here. Tet, a first, and Elijah Surratt feels like, man, we're kind of pushing over the price. And if I was trying to tear down a team or just looking in a league where we're making a lot of moves, I'd be fine moving Malik for Tet, bring in this extra first, bring in Surratt, and then do the type of thing that I was suggesting with you of saying, well, now I just take Elijah Surratt in this 27 first and just get another receiver. And then, you take one player, go to 3, and then just do the work to get yourself back to one player of value, or take these 3 assets and get to 2 really good pieces. The other package that you talked about was offered London for the same package, but it seems like an obvious fleece. I would agree. I would not do that one, and I would stick on the Tet side. If no one's giving you great options for those players, like, you just got to stick with where you're at. We won't overpay to make a trade go through. We'll explore other options. Let's go with R. Martins in the D-Gens. Jalen Waddle or a 28 mid first. I've seen Jalen Waddle going for 27 firsts. Did I drop that video yet? Is this the second time that we were covering? Whoop, there's live TikToks. I'm looking at my scheduled TikToks. No, Jalen Waddle was Monday, where we pulled up. This is a 10-team start 9. So maybe the values here are tweaked. But I think the Jalen Waddle side clears here. If we're just looking at one thing, Jalen Waddle for a 28 mid first. I think you can get more for Jalen Waddle. Now, do I even have this on the right side? No, you're sending a 28 first and bringing in Jalen Waddle. I love the price. I like the price. Wide receiver U. For R. Martin and D-Gens, would I move a 28 first to bring in Jalen Waddle? I would. Even with this team has Malik Neighbors, Justin Jefferson, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, DJ Moore. I think the price is just good here. Yeah, GCG saying thank you, sir. Thank you. You've submitted a bunch of trades. Thank you very much. The show only goes if people submit trades. So thank you. The thanks always go out to you guys. The thing's always, I try to I try to continuously be talking about advice and giving advice without stopping and saying, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for submitting questions. There's only a show if questions come in. So thank you very much. I think the team that I'm looking at here, if you guys are on the widescreen feeds, 10-team Superflex start 9, it's a pretty strong team. And I think it's probably one that got strong by saying, yeah, I'll send a 28 first for Jalen Waddle. And then the next trade, that frees me up to make the next trade. That is probably also a value win. So I like that move. I see a question that just came through. Let's hit the clear on that trade and look from Jude. How would I rank DJ Moore, Ladd, and Luther Burden? I mean, if we're going for dynasty values, I'm super close on Ladd and Luther Burden. Luther Burden probably more upside, but we've also actually seen Ladd be, what was he, like wide receiver 12, 13 as a rookie? It wouldn't surprise me if he went back to that. So I'm going to have them very close. And then DJ Moore behind that. If we're looking at dynasty value. Brandon said, okay, Brandon with the message. I need you to say something misleading since someone in my league is in the chat. I don't think I could. Because I try to take each question and break it down as 2 parts. Like we'll talk about it with this trade that we'll put on the screen from Jack Mai. I think that's the name. Oh, you may or may not be in that league from the friendly exchange. We try to break it down here. We've got this trade, Jack Mai. When I am looking at this right now, if you guys are on Twitch and on YouTube, you can see the roster. On my screen, I don't see the roster. So I look at this trade and I say, with this league scoring, 10-team Superflex start 10 in a vacuum, how do we feel about the deal? And then as we need to, we'll look at the team and say, well, does it even fit the team that you have? Is it fair, but does it work for you? Is it a deal that I wouldn't always make, but for this team I would? That type of conversation. But we also try to cover the players and talk about, would I do a trade like this for people who are not having their trade answered? We're trying to take something that is direct to one person, but also speak about it in a way where everyone gains value. Vanilla Fix says tripping balls, I hope. sorry, Vic. On this deal, guy floated this to me, but not sure if it takes a lot of productive youth from me. Maybe. You guys let me know in the chat, which side of this do you want? Ted McMillan, George Pickens, Malik Neighbors, or Puka Nacua, Justin Jefferson? Okay. 10 teams start 10. Is this like, we're paying the full price. We're paying the full price here. I don't think we're getting these top 2 for cheap. But would I do this? Would I swap? I mean, personally, would I swap Malik Neighbors for Justin Jefferson? I think when we're looking at this, yeah, I could take the 2. Puka Nacua and Justin Jefferson. Are we moving on from too much young value? Not really. Puka Nacua is plenty young. Justin Jefferson, 27 as like the older end of the market. And with a player like Ted McMillan after 1 year, Malik Neighbors after 1 great year, it's possible Malik Neighbors becomes elite, amazing. But with players like Tet and George Pickens, we could see some fading. This isn't prolonged production like we've seen from Puka and Justin Jefferson. And then with your roster, Neighbors, Tet, Pickens, Devonta Smith, Concepcion, Christian Watson. Yeah, you're moving on from youth. This team could use some more veterans in general. Like you could add in a Devontae Adams on another deal. You could add in a Mike Evans for a playoff push. Like just pay a cheap price and bring in a veteran to fill in depth here. I don't think we're paying too much. There are teams where I don't want to do up tiers, but I'm doing the up tier here. I'll take Puka. I'll take the Puka side. but it's a close enough one where if I'm moving on, I could go the other way. But in most situations, I'll take the up tier. Steven Scherzer, I see your trade. I see that one from Buttercups. We're at 5-4 in the queue. Let me do a bit of housekeeping and clear out one that we had already talked about. Move this there, move this there. Here we go. We've got Tree 45. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Let me set this one live for you guys. It'll pop up on your screen. Just did on. Okay, we got it on both. The sound effect worked on TikTok. It did not work on Twitch. They were not in sync. What are we doing here? Travis Etienne and the 201 were Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and the 107. Okay. 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 I think I'm taking Travis Etienne here. Which side of this deal? How do we look at this? Like 107 or Travis Etienne? $107 or Travis Etienne? Which side of this deal are we? H. White says the Etienne side 100%. Am I moving 107 this year to bring in Etienne? I could. In a one quarterback league, especially, and we need a wide receiver. And we need the wide receiver. Or excuse me, and we need the running back, and there's not really a good option at 107. And the price here for Travis Etienne is fine for a couple years on the Saints. I like that New Orleans offense. I mean, I don't love them to be the best offense in the league, but I like them to produce fantasy for Etienne, for Olave, for Jordan Tyson. So if we send the 107, that value's fine. And then the swap of, well, I guess I have to send Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and bring back the 201. I might rather have the 201. Yeah, I'll take HN here. I'm fine with this. For the roster that we've got, though, of like, we're moving the 107. They have Josh Jacobs, Javonte Williams, Rico Dowdle. Yeah, let's just solidify running back. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. All right, next trade, Fire Escape, cover 2 Tampa. What do we got here? Malik Neighbors, Breece Hall. It's popping up on the screens. Or Jeremiah Love and Marvin Harrison. Which side of this one are you guys taking? Which side of this one are you guys taking? 12-team Superflex, start 10, PPR, full point for a tight end premium on top. I think I'm taking Malik. I think I'm taking Malik here. I think I'm taking Malik. And some of the difference here is this full point tight end premium. Because if Marv just kind of sticks where he was, he's in that, like, I guess he's a wide, he's in that like wide receiver 30 range. We could just be starting tight ends getting decent production if we're getting a full point on top. Tight ends score 2 points per reception in this league. Marvin Harrison gets 1 point per reception. Jeremiah Love for Malik Neighbors, that's feeling like a wash. If you just don't want to worry about does Marv break out and you'll take an RB2 for the next couple of years with Breece Hall, I am okay with that. I don't know that either side here is a clear winner. We could also just see Marvin Harrison get to, I mean, if he put up, we could also just see like value rise in Marvin Harrison. If he has a great first month of the year with a new head coach, and we've seen this offense put up a good wide receiver last year with Mike Wilson while Marvin Harrison was hurt. It's a different offensive system, a different head coach now. But if it just swapped to the player we thought was better, starts being better and puts up good wide receivers, I I could see Marvin Harrison rising in value. We could say some similar things about Breece Hall. Just if Geno Smith is a competent quarterback, could we see him back to top 12 production? If I had to pick a duo just blindly, I think it's a slight edge to the Malik Neighbors side. And then this team has Neighbors. Am I sending Neighbors? Oh, this team has both wide receivers already. So yeah, I saw that from, who called that out? Ty Flack. He has both wide receivers already in this trade. Yeah. I'm not sure which, if the wrong league was submitted here, but I'll say it's a slight edge in my mind to the Malik Neighbors side. Let's go with Zephyr Hats. Pick 101 in this deal. In a 12-team, one quarterback start 8, are you guys moving the 101 for Zay Flowers, Jake Ferguson, and the 107? I'm not. No. I mean, this is going to boil down to Zay Flowers and who at 107? Concepcion? If we're just looking at who are we drafting at 107? Zephyr, you set it up the wrong way. Yeah, Zephyr, just shoot it back again, Zephyr. And we'll cover it. Or if there's a different, if you set the trade up and we talked about the wrong package for package, just let me know. H. White is saying, no thanks, give me love. I think I'm taking love here. I like Zay Flowers. At 107, Jadarian Price is probably gone in a one quarterback league, and I don't particularly love him. And then this is an overpay. If we're looking at a calculator, yeah, it's an overpay, and that's why we would tell you guys, hey, don't rely on trade calculators. If you can get, this is for all roads lead to Rome. If you can get Jeremiah Love in this way, go for it. You've got the roster that this person has. You've got Trey McBride. The 107 is not going to be filling any deep needs for this team. Like, we can do this overpay to get Jeremiah Love on this roster. What is it? 107 Ferguson and Zay Flowers. Even if you got the 101 here, I'm in a startup right now where people have this, and this is relevant. We have had multiple instances in our startup where people have traded for a pick in the startup just to take that pick and trade it away to someone else. You don't even have to make the 101 here. I think the value is, and the way that this works for your team is just good enough. You trade for the 101 and then pair that up with Chuba Hubbard and make a different deal for other options for this team. I like this deal if you can get it through. But it would surprise me. All right, Scherzer is the next one up. Oh, we got Dean. Dean's still in here. We got Scherzer, Yellow Van, and Dean as the next ones. What do we got for Scherzer? It's in the YouTube chat. He said, just submitted a trade a bit ago. Ken Walker or Rashid Shaheed in a second. What do we got? A 12-team Superflex start 8 PPR. The notes say, I don't know if this makes sense, but I definitely need a running back. If you can get, this is one, I'm not sure that you get this through, Scherzer. If you can get a running back for this, like, if anyone in the chat would not take the Ken Walker side here, let me know. Because this one seems like no way this goes through. Unless I'm missing something. If this is available to you, you slam dunk take it, even if you don't need a running back. Even if your team is all running backs and you're like, oh my gosh, I can only start 2 running backs and I have 0 quarterbacks, you're still taking this deal. This is how lopsided it feels. Because then you trade, I mean, just like we were talking about with people trading for picks in the startup that I'm in and then trading those picks away. I don't even care if you're ever going to use Ken Walker. It's just a slam dunk Ken Walker by a lot. By a lot. All right, we got Yellow Van in the Nasty Gooners Dynasty. You gross, nasty guys. You gross, nasty girls and guys. Here's the trade. It's on the screen. 10-team Superflex, start 9, 90 players a week, a little bit shallower. With the players in here, I don't think it's going to come into play. How are we feeling? Jeremiah Love and Carnell Tate, or Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor? Scherzer saying, appreciate it, thank you. Scherzer, thank you for submitting it. How are we feeling on this one? This team has Jeremiah Love. They have Carnell Tate. Did you have the 101 and 102 in your rookie draft? Or are you coming out of a startup? Is anyone here taking the Jonathan Taylor side? Because I'm pretty comfortably taking Jeremiah Love and Tate. I'm taking Love and Tate here. We'll talk through it if anyone's taken the Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry side. And with the roster that you have, you got Love, you got Trevion Henderson, you have Ramondre Stevenson. Maybe you're feeling like you got to get a Derrick Henry in there. I wouldn't. Will says this looks like a redraft trade. It should. I mean, you can check the league name, Nasty Gooners Dynasty. I'm hoping that they didn't name their redraft league Nasty Gooners Dynasty and then drafted already. And they have their rosters have first round picks. I don't think this one is one. My dog's acting up. I'm staying with Tate here. I'm staying with Jeremiah Love. I'm staying with Tate here. I think if you wanted to down tier from these players, on top, you could just get more than Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry. So this isn't just like, oh, I want the younger guy. This is just on trade value. You should be able to get more. Does this boost your production so much that we have to do it? I don't know that it does. And with your roster, if I'm looking to boost running back production, this is one where I would be more willing to just move my 27 first or other future picks to fill out running back for you. Because even if you're moving your future firsts, you've like, I'm looking at their specific roster. You can check that out on Twitch and YouTube where we have more space. Like you have pieces that could then be converted for a first next year if you felt like you were really missing something. But if you're looking to get running back production, like look at moving Josh Downs, move Malik Washington, or move Antonio Williams together and get an older guy. Go get a DeAndre Swift for your running back problems. I would not move Love and Tate for Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry. Are we at the... I'm looking at the queue. We've got one more. It's Dean. Dean straight from Walter Picks. How are we feeling on this one? I am in this league. Is one of these... Let's see, the notes say, if you like the Odunze side, this trade goes through in a league I am in. Now, I will tell you guys, I do not know if this is either of my rosters. I think we did about 9 Dynasty startups, and at any point, I could not tell you, like, I have Rome Odunze in some of these leagues. I don't think I ever got JSN, so let's find out. On this deal, what are we doing? Are we moving JSN and Ladd McConkey for Rome Odunze, Jalen Waddle, Pierce, and a 27 first? I don't know that I would be getting enough if I was moving JSN. Which side is Dean? Dean has Rome Odunze. If you can get this, like if I like the Rome Odunze side, this trade goes through. Am I the Rome Odunze side? Let me look. Is Dean here saying that I'm not this? I think this is the JSN and McConkey side. And you guys let me know if you're not taking this. It's not me in this deal. Yeah, if you can get JSN and Ladd, you're sending what? Rome, Waddle, Pierce, a 27 first, but you've got 3 of them. Got 3 27 firsts. So coming out of a downturn year to try to get back up, but only sort of. This would be the start of coming out of this rebuild. You'd be moving your top 3 wide receivers. You would be moving Rome, Waddle, Alec Pierce, your top three sort of wide receivers. You would then be left with a not terrible team. JSN, Ladd, Omar Cooper, Christian Watson, Michael Pittman, Cortland Sutton, and some extra firsts that you could go fill out the rest of this wide receiver room. Yeah. I don't think you're overpaying. If we're looking at a situation where someone is like, oh man, I'm sending JSN, but only if you overpay, you're not overpaying. I think you're okay to do it. Oh, you guys are both in here. You guys are both in here. We've got both people in here. If I like, okay. Dean is in the chat. Jit named Ryan is in the chat. This is one, I don't know, like, I don't think we're getting enough for JSN here. If we're starting to do a tear down, I don't have Jit's roster in front of me. Are you trying to get rid of Ladd? I don't know that we're quite getting enough back. Like, couldn't you just get a whole nother second back on here and it would still feel like we're heavy splitting JSN in a way that is unlikely to get us back to JSN value? That's the way I'm reading it. You're all right parting with them, but I do think you could get more. Yeah. Have you done the work to check and see if you can get more? Let's take a pivot and show, like, have you just pulled up? Like, I've got some JSN and some moves. Let's see, Trending Ryan. I told him, if you think the Rome side is better, I would do it. I don't know that I think the Rome side is better. And if I have JSN, I don't see myself making moves like this. If I'm moving JSN, I'm probably not moving Ladd with him. Like, I'm trying to pull value for the future. So if I'm moving JSN, maybe we're just saying we're selling them at the top, but at the same time, I want to move on from value losing assets in that deal. And I don't see Ladd McConkey as that type of trade. I've got a league where I want to be rebuilding. I want to move Joe Burrow, but I'm only doing it if I'm moving Travis Kelce. I'm only doing it if I'm moving Ramondre Stevenson. That doesn't feel like this with Ladd. That feels like we're just trying to split this out and get more starters. And I think you could get more better starters. So I'm staying with the JSN side if that's my roster. And apparently it's not. I think that is the cue. No, we got one more. We got one more that came through from Jack Mai. And Chris Mead. Is this Everybody Hates Chris? Did someone say 27 first? I've got 7 of those in Boombus 8. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Marty Nordy said the JSN Ladd side by a lot. We try to go in more in depth rather than just it's this side or I die. Let's talk about this here. Saquon Barkley at 28 first and Chris Godwin. Trying to get better receivers is the notes. Trying to get some younger, better receivers. Okay. I don't think this is bad. Which side of this do you want to be on? We've got Saquon Barkley as a third running back on a team that has Gibbs, McCaffrey, Barkley, Jacobs, and then nothing much else. Lloyd from Green Bay. And then wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Pittman, Godwin, Shaheed. Like, I see the need for receivers. Wandale, Rice, David Montgomery. And I think this feels like, yeah, if you can get this, go for it. If you're worried about Rice, maybe there's a different receiver you could get, but I like David Montgomery. Dahl says, I would for sure make that trade. I think I would too. I think I'm okay with this. And I don't know that there's a side here that I'm like, oh my gosh, this one clearly wins. I like Rashee Rice. I like Saquon Barkley. I like here's what I will say. Here's what I'll say. If you take Rashee Rice, I feel like we're looking at this and we kind of there's Do you like Rice's upside this year? I like Rice's upside as well. I don't know that he stays tradable, or that or that there's much that makes him tradable. If you get Rashee Rice, you're kind of just bringing in a lot of leagues. You're bringing him in, and he's now with you. People just don't like this guy. Jalen Hurts feels this way. If you bring in Jalen Hurts, there's a very good chance your league mates just don't like him and won't trade him for that in a way that matches his production. When I'm looking at this trade, I would just want to cross stuff out and say Rashee Rice for Saquon Barkley. We can see that trade happening. And if we start to cross that off, how does the rest of this look? A 28 first and Chris Godwin for David Montgomery and Wan'Dale Robinson feels a bit out of whack. Could you get more in this deal? That's where I feel like we're sending away a first round pick. If we just break this down and say like Barkley and Rice, even, you could probably just do Barkley for just Rice as an option. Maybe that guy doesn't want to do that deal and they're only doing it because they're getting a first round pick back on the other side with Chris Godwin. Do you have other firsts? No, the 28 first is your only first available to trade. This is a spot like, I don't know that I would do it. It seems even. If you do it, I don't often like push this much of my future value in for. If I'm moving at 28 first, I want like a value multiplier. First round picks, they go up. I mean, obviously they go up in value the closer we get to them. Like they're value gainers, but they're also multipliers. Like, oh no, is saying I like the Rice side. I think we are just missing out on that opportunity of like whoever we take in 2028 can easily just become worth multiple firsts in 2029, and nothing on the Rice side seems like it's going to go that way. Jacob Meyer says this is an orphan I picked up. Okay, if you just picked up this team as an orphan and you didn't build it this way, if this is my team, I might just be starting to flip things and trying to grab more future firsts rather than sending them away, which is why I'm really stickling on like, I don't want to move this first. It wouldn't, I'm saying the slight edge to the side with the first round pick, just for the way that first round picks, you draft them and they skyrocket in value if they hit, and nothing on the other side feels that same way. If I took over that team as an orphan, I may pivot it with all the future picks gone. Let's clear that one off of the screen. Talk the Watch says, how do you know it will be a mid first rounder though? I don't. And that's something I say a lot on these. As we're talking about first round picks in trades, I often just call them, especially in 2028, for that far out, I will say it's a random future first. We don't actually know where things are going to go. There's a guy in our league that everybody wants their first round pick because they're often not great teams. We all want their first round pick. Last year, I think that guy came in 7th. Like his pick that everybody thought would be 101 was very much not 101, and is in line to, he's got a questionable team again this year that could get close to the playoffs. Like we don't actually know as much as we think we do for stuff like that. The times that we think it will be an early or a late first are times when like we're driving our own pick down to the number 1. We'll take a couple other questions from the chat. Like Aiden said, how are we feeling about Ken Walker? Pretty good. I don't feel like, how do we feel about Ken Walker? I think the way that I jump to talking about any player is in relation to what the market thinks of them. Dahl says you have high hopes for Ken Walker with a top 7 finish. A top 7 finish I would call that surprising. I would call that surprising for Ken Walker. I think he's likely an RB1. I don't know. I don't see a lot of people saying like stash Charbonnet. Player's injured right now in his final year with the Seahawks. The Seahawks likely move on from him. If we really like Ken Walker, I find it weird that we're not stashing someone like Charbonnet a lot more. Like the Seahawks liked Charbonnet more than Ken Walker. He's going to be going into a similar situation with free agency next year's Ken Walker. If you're looking at on a rebuild to bring in a player that is likely to go up in value in 12 months, I'd say Charbonnet as a great option. Jacob Myers hasn't shown he can handle a majority share without injury. I don't know that that's actually as much of a thing with injury prone players. I think there's just a lot of like NFL is just people get injured. There are plenty of situations of players that seemed injury prone and now don't seem injury prone because they just stopped getting injured. Saquon Barkley missed multiple years with significant injuries and no one calls him injury prone now. And there's players not at that tier that missed years we thought were injury prone and then just were good for years and no longer were injury prone. It's a very similar situation with someone like Chris Olave. He had some concussion issues. Like Devontae Adams had a lot of concussions. He's 33 and still playing in the NFL. Again, we're hitting like these higher tier players, but situations where we think someone's injury prone, their players are injury prone until they stop getting injured, and then they're not injury prone anymore, and we forget about it. And the market doesn't really remember. The general Dynasty community doesn't really have that long memory to say like, hey, actually being injury prone is not actually that much of a thing. So I don't know. That's how I feel about Ken Walker. I think a pretty good coach thought he shouldn't be the lead back for the Seahawks. I think that says something. But that he also was under a different coach and performed. So top 12-ish. I don't think he's heavily overvalued in the market where he's at right now. And a lot of times when we see running backs sign a big contract and go to another team, Aiden, do you think the Chiefs will help his value a bit? I think he helps the Chiefs, sort of a chicken and an egg thing. He helps the Chiefs at a situation they really needed running back. They're running Pacheco, Kareem Hunt. They really needed a running back the same way the Texans really needed a running back, and it hurt their offense. And bringing in Ken Walker helps the Chiefs have a more competent offense, which then in turn helps Ken Walker. So I would have him ranked like top 12 for this year. Ty Flack, am I holding or moving Tyreek or Ayuk with all their future uncertainty? This is one where like Ty Flack, the price is the price in the league that you're in. In general, if I have these guys, I'll hold them until they're on a team. Unless I'm getting, with each of them, like set your out price. If you get a second round pick for Ayuk, are you moving on? I don't have these guys in a lot of leagues, so I haven't had to set my out price for Tyreek Hill. But if I can get a second round pick for Tyreek Hill, I'll probably move on. Unless I am like, it's going to depend on your team really too. If Tyreek Hill's the sixth receiver on my team and I believe that is the upside to be a top 12 performance again, sure, I'll just hold him. But it's going to be really, really specific for what situation you need that player to be and what is actually available in your league. I think we saw from Cowboys for Life, you submitted a trade review. Clanton Gang and Big Boys Club. We'll throw this one on the live, and then if other questions come through, we'll cover them. Geez, it's 10:30. Well, we started late. It's okay, this will be the last trade that we cover. We'll be back on Monday covering more trades. We'll cover this trade. We'll take a look on any of the messages from the chat, and then we'll be back Monday, 7:30 Central Time, looking at team reviews, trade reviews in at the same time, 7:30 Central. On this deal, we've got a 14-team super flex start 8, a bigger tight end premium with a 0.75. How are we feeling about this deal? It's a big boy trade. Baker Mayfield, CeeDee Lamb on one side. On the other side, we've got some people paying up to get to these. Garrett Wilson, CJ Stroud, the 208, a 27 second and a 28 third. I think I'm taking the smaller side of this deal. Which side of this deal are you on, Clan? You have Baker Mayfield. Would I move Baker Mayfield and CeeDee Lamb for Wilson, Stroud, the 208, a 27 second and a 28 third? No. Let's look at your team. If I have this deal, is this one where you feel like you're starting to tear things down, Cowboys for life? If you're starting to tear things down, and I'm scanning your roster and looking at it, and I'm guessing that because you don't have a 27 first, you don't have a 28 first. You took Baker and CD, checking the review for it. If you took Baker and CD, I like that. And if I had this team and had Baker and CD, I'm not flipping it. You move Stroud, move Garrett Wilson, and then just seconds to up tier. This is what I want to do with second round picks. I don't really like making my second round and third round picks if I can just do moves like this to go for Garrett Wilson up to CeeDee Lamb, CJ Stroud, hopefully up still to Baker Mayfield. I like it. I like the Mayfield side. What did we see? I saw someone say, Jay Iconic, is it too late to send in a trade review? It'll just get covered on Monday. It'll get covered on Monday. Because I'm starting to cough now. If you hear that, I'm starting to, I can only say so many words before the voice just runs out. So we're starting to, and it's late. It's late. So yes, if you submit it, it'll get covered for first one on the show Monday at 7:30 Central Time. If we find that we need to be adding in more shows, you guys just let me know. These typically slow down after a couple hours. I mean, today we've went 2:30. I'm out of town this weekend, so if we added another show, we would get added in next weekend or next week, later in the week. Lions fan says CD and Baker side, holy moly. Cowboys, I appreciate the review. Thank you, my man. Hey, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you who's watching, who submitted trade questions, who submitted team reviews. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, guys. We'll end this with massive gratitude. Thank you, guys. And shout out Friendly Exchange mod in the chat, pinning your messages, making it easier to see them. And I see him helping people get their trade questions submitted, etc. It's incredibly helpful. Thank you very much to them. If he's helped you at all, big shout out to the Friendly Exchange modding in the chat. And we're going to shut stuff down here. I don't have a stream ending button to transition to. So we'll start shutting things down. Take care, guys. And I'm just going to start clicking the end stream. TikTok. Take care. Take care. Have a good weekend, guys. Stay safe out there. Twitch and YouTube. Have a great weekend. We'll be